Welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, I am going to explain about abstract factory design pattern. Abstract factory design pattern works around a super factory which creates other factories. This factory is also called as factory of factories. What do I mean by factory of factories? In this scenario, notification factory builder is a super factory which in turn creates email factory, SMS factory and IVR factory. Before going to understand abstract factory design pattern, let's understand factory design pattern. In the previous tutorial, I covered factory design pattern in detail. In this tutorial, I will touch a brief. For example, you have a requirement from your client to create notification module to push notifications to his customers. If you get such a requirement, what you will do? If you don't have factory design pattern, you will create email notification class, SMS notification class and IVR notification class, and you will compile all these classes into a jar and you will hand over that jar to your client. What client will do? Client will create objects of each of these classes and call methods inside the classes and push notifications to his customers. What are the disadvantages here? Number one, you are handovering your code to the client so that if any requirement is needed, the client can override your code and create his own functionality, which is insecure. Number two, you are allowing the implementation logic in the client code instead of providing a business feature, which is highly discouraged, and you are making the client to create objects which is tightly coupled. For example, if any changes goes in email notification mod class or any enhancements required in email notification class, then the client class also needs to be updated accordingly, which is highly discouraged. To simplify this process, we have factory design pattern. What factory design pattern does is, notification factory tells, hey client, you don't bother about object creation process, you just make a request to me and I will create objects on behalf of you and I will pass an object reference back to you. With this reference, you can call email notification methods and SMS and IVR and push notifications to your customers. What are the advantages here? Number one, we are hiding the implementation logic so that your code is secure. Number two, we are creating the objects instead of allowing the client to create, so that we are loosely coupled, a clear separation from client code to the vendor code. Number three, we are asking the client to focus only on business functionality instead of implementation details. So this is the main advantage of factory design pattern. Let me jump into abstract factory design pattern. As discussed in factory design pattern, you are creating, in fact, in notification factory, you are creating a concrete object. Here you are creating email object, SMS object and IVR object of concrete classes and passing these objects to your client. What abstract factory design pattern tells is, if you have a broad sense of complex design, to simplify this design, you can go for abstract factory design pattern. Here each module will act as a family of factory. What do I mean by family of factory? If you see email factory in turn have a hierarchy of personal email, office email and mobile and work email, and so on so forth. So all these module comes under email factory. In the same way, SMS and IVR. So here notification factory builder is a one more layer to the factory design, comparing to factory design pattern. What notification factory builder does is, it don't create the concrete classes. Instead, it creates a factory itself. It creates a email factory, an SMS factory, and IVR factory. This email factory is responsible to create its concrete classes in email factory class. What are the advantages here? We are hiding the implementation logic from the client code to the vendor code, as like factory design pattern. Number two, we are able to simplify the complex objects creation hierarchy in a simple and clear simple and clear way. And if you want to, number three, if you want to add one more factory, let's suppose IoT factory, then you don't need to disturb this email factory, SMS factory, and IVR factory modules. You can create as many factories as you can without disturbing the other code. Number four, this design is loosely coupled so that you can have modifications, you can have creations, you can destroy the objects, and so on so forth. Number five, if client make any request to such a factory, and without disturbing the client request, you can able to modify the other source codes easily. This creates a loosely coupled design pattern. Hope you understand. Let's jump into the code. Here I have three packages. These three packages are, let's suppose, provided by me, and this is my client code. And my client wants to push email notification. Instead of creating object here, I'm giving just this get notification type method to call this method to push notifications. To simplify to easily explain and to simplify the process, I'm just having a ready-made code with me, and to save the time as well. So get notification type. So here my client sends email as a string, then I will validate if it is email, then I will create email factory object. Instead of creating email concrete class, I am creating email factory object itself, and I am returning back the object to my client. With this object, he will call whether he needs to push personal email or business email or work email, and so on. So if you want to push personal email, he will call get email method, so that here the string is personal, so that I will validate if it is personal email, then I will create personal email concrete class. This personal email object is created by email factory. If you observe here, these are the concrete classes. So it is going to return object of personal email to the client. With this object, my client will call push notification method, which is inside the personal email concrete class. So in this method, I'm just having a string push personal email notification to the customer. This string gets assigned to this notification response variable, and I am printing this notification response. Let's see the output. See, pushing personal email to notification. Which type of notification? Email notification, and inside one more layer, personal notification. If I have to switch to, instead of a personal email, if I have to send business email to the customer, then client will send a business as a string, and the same code executes. Oops, what is the validation? Sorry, office email. If the client wants to push off email to his office mail ID, then he will send office as a string, then I will validate and I will push office email to my customer. This is the office email notification push to the customer. In the same way, if the client wants to push SMS notification, then I will have SMS as a string here, and the client will pass SMS as a string, and I will validate and I will pass SMS notification to his office mobile number. Let's run the code. You will see push SMS to office mobile number to the customer. So in this way, we can have the same code by passing different type of strings to get different response objects and different response notifications to push to the customer. If you dig a bit more into these classes, I have a notification interface which I have push notification method to push notifications to my customer. I am implementing this notification in my email concrete classes, personal email class, and as well as office email class, and as well as SMS personal mobile class, and as well as office mobile class. These are the classes which are implementing notifications to push notification to the customer. Here we have email factory. What email factory is doing is it is creating objects based on the request type passed by the customer. If it is what email factory is doing is it is creating concrete classes, personal email object and office email object. And in the same way, SMS factory, it is creating office mobile concrete class and personal mobile class by passing various different types of strings, and based on the validation it will create respective objects. And what my factory builder is doing, my factory builder is creating the factory itself. So what my client is doing, client is only taking the business features instead of concentrating on implementation and implementation details. So this is about abstract factory design pattern. Hope I made you understand. Thanks for watching.